itself, you know?
It is,
So
yeah.
I work at the Cleveland Clinic, a great hospital, and we are in the process of growing the acumen level of providers and technicians on this type stuff, lean manufacturing, process improvement, metrics, tracking, you know? So a lot of times they'll come to us or we'll go to them and they're unsure of themselves, you know? I mean, they could do brain surgery, but how do you do a statistical process control map kind of a thing, you know?
Mm,
And
yeah.
we always say to them, "You can't get this wrong. It's your story, you know?
Right, right.
No one's gonna come to your area and go, 'You didn't tell that story right,' because it's your story." You know? So we give them that grace to, you know, if it's not technically perfect, you know, it's all about the journey. It's not about getting it right the first time. It's about learning from, you know, mistakes or learning from others. And, you know, so we extend that grace to the highly educated, you know, just like you extended the grace to the kids, you know, hey, let's do a redo. We got this part right. We didn't get that part right. So JD and I are big proponents of catching people doing things right, you know?
Right, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So
Well, and, I had 3 of the, reporters on a panel, last week with, the Women in Exhibition Group, which are all these powerful women that run the cinemas all around the world, and, they really wanted to hear the kids' opinions about what they're doing right or what the kids would like to see differently, and as we were doing our prep call, the kids one of the girls disagreed with the other 2, and she said, "I hate to say this, but I don't agree with you." I said, "I love it when you don't agree. It lets us know that this really is your opinion. You're not just mimicking somebody else's opinion, and it's valid. It's valid because even I said, you might have that opinion today, and a year from now, you might think, wow, I think completely different about that. Now, I mean, I had a board member, Dr. Irving Lazar. He initiated the Head Start program and did, the preschool, established preschools in Singapore, was head of child development at Cornell. Brilliant, brilliant man. And he was one of my jurors for many, many years because he wanted to be involved at that level. And I remember when Teletubbies came out and I sent it to him to review, and my jury coordinator sent it to him, and he sent in his review the next day. This is when we use the fax machine, right? And she comes in and said, I got Dr. Lazar's review of Teletubbies. Oh, great. And then the next day she comes into my office, knocks on the door. She has a very confused look on her face. I said, what's the story? And she goes, well, Dr. Lazar sent in another review of Teletubbies, and it's completely different from what he sent in yesterday. And I said, yeah, that sounds about right.
he marinated on some things overnight and thought, "I missed that from my earlier take," you know?
Yeah, and I said, "It's
Right.
probably not completely different. He just tweaked it in a different way."
You've answered partially what our next question is, and so we just want to get in a little more detail about it. But what are some of the specific mechanisms that you use to ensure that you get diverse perspectives? And you mentioned the one about saying, "I love it when you disagree," things like that, all the way from the kids' reporters to the parents. How do you ensure that you get these diverse perspectives in your decision-making process?
Yeah, good question. Well, first of all, we have a very diverse group of children that are on our review, that are part of our film critics team. We have 65 kids between the ages of 9 and 23. They are from all across the country. We actually have kids in 20 different states, plus 4 international locations. So they come from all different ethnic, social, economic backgrounds. I would say that we've intentionally done that unintentionally. As we have recruited children over the years, we've worked through various groups, teachers, librarians, Sunday school teachers, all kinds of different people that helped us recruit kids. And today they come from everywhere. We always ask them, what brought you here? And a lot of them will say, oh, I've been following Kids First for years. I couldn't wait until I turned 9 so I could become a reporter with you. I love that answer. But also, JD, in the training with them and from our first interview with them, which oftentimes especially with the younger kids, a parent will sit in on, and, the parent will be off camera, but they might make a comment or two and will say, come on camera. Let's have you part of this interview because you're going to be an important part of the team here. But we make it really clear. I mean, the parent is going to be their chauffeur. They're going to get them to that event. If it's live, if it's virtual, they're going to help them with their technology. But we make it really clear that when we ask the children questions and when they're filling out their evaluation, that we don't want the parent's opinion of the film. We want the child's opinion of it. I said, it's fair to discuss it with them, but try to avoid overlaying your opinion of the film on the child's, because mostly in the world of film criticism, mostly what the public sees are criticisms from adults, and they're generally in the age 30s and 40s. 30 and 40-year-olds have seen, I don't know, hundreds of thousands of films probably, and they're jaded. They don't look at a film that comes out like Toy Story 5 that's intended for a youth audience, like one of our reporters that hasn't seen so many films. So the comments that they come up with, "Oh, it's so predictable." It's not predictable when you're 9 years old, you know?
No. It may be predictable. It may be predictable because you've seen the other 5 or something like that, but I mean, yeah, I hear you there. The
Yeah.
last question I have for you, Randy, is it seems like there's an awesome opportunity here to shape the way people think. And so my question is, how much time do your managers spend coaching and mentoring as opposed to, managing? In other words, taking the time and the position that they're in to actually help shape some thinking. How much time do you think they spend doing that?
Well, I always say I like the 80-20 rule, that 80% of your time you do during the job and 20% during the administrative. Unfortunately, it can flip
Exactly.
depending on, the needs. But maybe it's not a question of how much time, but how much are you focused when you're working on that? I mean, I do have people like our writing editor that's all she does. She doesn't do any administrative work at all except for filling out her timesheet. Whereas my video editor is also a video coach and he's my main technical person as well. So he might have to do things like on Good Friday when somebody hacked our YouTube channel and
And
it
there.
was out and about. Why would you come attack a little nonprofit like Kids First, and I was out and about doing something. I get this emergency text message from him. Are you online? No. Well, you need to go online and look at our YouTube channel. Okay, what's up? We've been hacked. Great, great news. So we spent the next week. Fortunately, the YouTube fixers are very responsive and helped us, but it was Easter weekend. So they would say,
Yeah.
do this. We would do that and then wait. And it took 2 days before they came back and said, okay, that's good. But I forgot to tell you to do this also. So it took a full week to get it back. I mean, we did get it back. Thank goodness. But, you never know when something like that is going to pop up. And they do pop up, I mean, stuff like I am not a technical person, you know? I was not the person that was going to solve
Right.
that problem, you know? I gave that over to the technical people and I just did what they told me to do.
So one of the
You know,
key points of the train model is that, as JD mentioned, it's tell, teach, it's give direction. And I've heard you say a
Mhm.
lot that you provided clarity, clarity to the kids, clarity to the parents to back off, let the kids, bring
Right,
forth
yeah.
their opinion. Um, How important and how have you seen, the kids adjust quicker when they've had good, clear directions on expectations? I guess that would be the lesson for the tell, teach mode.
No, you're absolutely right. I mean, I've been teaching a long time. I started teaching dance to Head Start kids when I was 14 years old and quickly learned that I didn't know what I was doing. So an example, I think, is I'll go to Andrew, because he comes in and talks to the kids when we start venturing into how to videotape your review and how to set up your home studio to do online interviews. And I love this man to pieces. He's been with us for 5 years now, but he really is the let me tell you how the watch is made, not let me tell you what time it is sort of a person. And so we met in person for the first time like a week or two ago. And I said, so let's talk about your last session with the kids. I said, I know that you really enjoy them and enjoy working with them, but here's something to think about. When you're giving them instructions, we were specifically talking to two girls who are siblings about their green screen. The question was, do you have a green screen? Yes. What type? They describe it. Cool. That's the chance to go in and talk about how to work with that green screen. Instead, Andrew proceeded to tell them about two other types of green screens. And I said, at that point, you're having a conversation one on one with two girls, siblings who already have the green screen. They don't need to know about two other green screens. They need to know how this green screen works. And when you go into that, do you notice how their eyes kind of glaze over? It's called too much information. And he goes, yeah, I know I do that. And I said, I know you do. And my job is to point that out to you. And your job is to figure out how to avoid going there.
So I would call him a left brain and I would call you a right brain. You get the context. He's a little myopic. Now, God love watchmakers. We need them, the pieces to fit.
Oh, yeah,
Okay. But
absolutely.
but you and I are the marketing brand person for Rolex. So we appreciate the beauty, you know, and don't get bogged down in the muck of the mire, so to speak, in the details. So very cool.
Yeah.
No, what I was talking about was that they're employing what I call opportunity mentoring, and that is you don't just say, "Hey, for the next 30 minutes, we're going to mentor." It's during the course of a crisis or something like that that occurs. Someone hacked the internet or hacked your YouTube site, or whatever. That's when you go into the let's solve this thing, not just by saying, "Here's how to do it," but let's go through the mechanisms. It reminded me of how my dad used to train and teach me and my brothers how to work farm equipment. He would show us, tell us, the T part, but then he would also take the next couple of minutes to say, if you don't grease this particular fitting, this is what's going to happen to the blade or to the gear that requires that lubrication. So, yeah, it's great technique, Randy. I appreciate you sharing that with us.
So, Rennie, we're going to wrap up here. I just want to throw a curveball here. So, are you a movie lover?
Oh my gosh. What
Yes.
would ever make you think that?
So I'm a movie lover. All right. My wife is not a movie lover. Okay.
Uh-huh.
She's a TV series kind of a tolerator, so we 8 seasons of Bosch or whatever, we can kind of get into that, but she's not a much of a movie buff. Now, my mother-in-law, okay, who we made a suite downstairs called the Nana Suite. She's moving in with us. She loves movies. Okay. So I said to Nana, we're going to have movie night every Friday night, you and me, in your room with your 70-inch plasma. Okay. I'm buying pizza and we're going to watch. And she's like, yeah, so she's excited. So now after
Nice.
42 years, I have someone to enjoy a movie with. So my favorite movie was Jeremy Irons and Robert De Niro in a movie in 1984 called The Mission. Okay. And they were both priests working with the Guarani Indians, Portugal, Spain border. Okay. If you haven't seen it, go watch it, okay? Because Jeremy Irons, he is the passive, and Robert De Niro is the ex-mercenary who doesn't wanna be a hard ass anymore. So the tension between the 2, and then injustice comes to them, and the pacifist, he acts his way, and then De Niro goes back to his old mercenary days to defend the mission kinda thing. So it's the question is, how would you react with injustice, Are you a pacifist?
What was the title?
It's called The Mission.
The
Um,
mission.
yeah.
The mission.
So that's a long lead into JD and I are going to write a second book, and we're probably 70% done through it. And it's called The Leads Continuum. So, and it's leadership basically leader, educator, administrator, delegator, screener, direct to indirect, direction versus support. Okay. So, this continuum, and we're using movie scenes to say Captain Picard was a leader in this situation. Watch what he did. You know, Jeremy Irons was a screener in this situation. So, any advice
Oh,
from you?
great.
Any advice from you on how we can, craft that vision in my head kinda thing?
You know, the technology is out. I haven't seen it in a while, but I do remember a couple of years ago when books were coming out and then it would refer to a movie clip and you could play it in the book if you're watching it like on a Kindle or an iPad or something. I watched a number of those on my iPad and I thought, wow, this is so cool.
Yeah. Okay.
Because trying to get people to go and watch it and go off platform to do it is you're gonna lose half of them, more than half, you're gonna lose 80% of them, you know? But if you
Absolutely.
can find a way to if you can put it onto an iPad and so they can click on that clip and watch it right there,
Yeah. So
you
we want it
that's
to be a work
gold.
we want it to be a workbook, so you go and you watch the clip, what did you see, what did you learn,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
that kind of a thing. So, all right,
But
well,
if you can put it onto an iPad or tablet, so that it's right there, they don't have to go someplace else to watch it.
oh, that's great. Well, thanks for that advice. So we're gonna give you the last word. Give us the next few years vision for Kids First. What's in the hopper?
Oh, boy. Well,
If it if it's a secret, you don't have to say anything. We're just excited.
we have several things that we're working on right now. We're doing a workshop tomorrow, actually, with the kids about the hybridization of media incorporating AI because I found that the kids were starting to reject films that were submitted to our film fest. Besides reviewing mainstream films, our team also helps review independent and student films that come in for the film festival. And because it was made with AI, they'd go, "Oh, I hate AI." I'm like, did you watch the film? No. I said, well, your job actually is to watch the film. So I want you to go back and watch the film and then evaluate it just like you do every other film, not an arbitrary thing. And I think a lot of them don't realize how much AI has already been used in filmmaking. We're working with in-house studios that's doing this presentation tomorrow. And I was doing a prep call with them yesterday and they put together a great reel of films that have already been incorporating AI. And I said, oh, this is going to blow their minds because they really have no idea how much AI is already, I look at it as another tool.
I agree with
And
you. I would put in a chapter that I wrote for my book into AI and say, "Tell me some nuances from what you've read." And they would come up with 3
mhm,
or 4 things that are like, "Absolutely," so then you take that and you add to what they said, and then you can ask. So I have a nice conversation with my AI. He called me John Connor the other day, if you know what that means.
I do.
Yeah.
I call my Alice insightful. I just bought a new car with the help of my AI.
Okay.
Anyway, I really see the film festival expansion as an important part of what we do because it is global. And board members that we had in the beginning used to say to me when we're writing our initial bylaws and articles of incorporation, you're thinking too small, Ranny. This is not a local initiative. This is not national. This is a global initiative. And they would rewrite everything that I'd written. And as a result, we've never had to rewrite anything since.
Fantastic.
Along with the film festivals is we are incorporating the film critics program into those programs as well. So Pakistan, we have Ukraine. We just formed a relationship with a group in the UK, the Children's International Film Festival. in Hastings, just outside of London, and they all want to do more with us. So that enables us to take the experience that we've done developing our curriculum and our training program and reach children worldwide with it.
Well, that is exciting. I think the next decade, the best is yet to come, I think, for Kids First, and that's exciting. So JD and I would like to do a leadership workshop with your kids at some point in the future. So be thinking about that. Maybe like an hour session. We could tell them funny stories and ask them questions and give them some homework maybe. We'd love to help contribute to their development.
Thank you. That's a great idea. Let's talk more about that.
Okay, sounds good.
Coming to the We're coming to the end of our hour here. I
Yeah.
see the clock counting down.
Yeah, absolutely. JD, you wanna give it one more shot?
First of all, I really enjoyed it, Randy. I love working with kids. I've been a camp counselor for years. I spent summer vacation in college teaching kids how to ride horses. One of the best summers I've ever spent. So appreciate what you're doing. Keep it up. We'll stay in touch. We'll take us up on thumbs up. That would be very very gratifying, I think, for everybody. And then I just want to, I guess, end it up by saying, Tim, what are we going to do next week?
Same thing we do every week, trying to take over the business world with JD and the Brain. So we've been honored to have Rennie Levy here this week. Rennie, we just want to say thank you so much. We're honored to have you. And what a great conversation, about the importance of giving clear direction to your team members. So thank you. And we'll give you the last word, Rennie.
Well, thank you. It's been fun working with you, the two of you. I've really been intrigued by the work that you do, and I liked your style.
Well, thank you, ma'am. Whoop, whoop. All right, we will see you.
Uh,
I will do a professional job of editing and make everyone look good.
No, that's a challenge for me. Good luck with that.
Okay, guys. God
uh,
bless. We'll see you.
All right. Bye, Randy.
Ciao.
Okay. Ciao.
Support the mission. Align your team. Build capability. Leverage Teaming Plus for alliances. Because performance doesn't happen by accident. This has been JD and the Brain.